Remember, I thought I would have the metal work done by the middle of the month. Well, the middle of the month has came and went, and that's kinda as far as I've got. So the internal structure, camera, there we go. The internal structure to below the van door has been replaced all the way at the back of the vehicle. So there is only one other area that we need to get sorted before we can start rattling body panels on and stuff like that. Now, what will I call this video? I think I'll call this video, you think it's going one way, then it has to go another way. Right, so the damage to the footwell, right, let's have a look here. That section, I know it looks rough just now, is going to get welded in across there. Okay, so let's have another look at that. Again, it all looks rough just now, but it will get better, right? This section here, which I think maybe one of the most complex shapes I've made yet. Right, so let's stick it on the van. Yeah, I think that's possibly one of the most complicated shapes I've made. I did a video last year on Fitzy's Fabrications, a guy from Newfoundland, Canadian boy. He's given me a different way of thinking about making these complicated shapes, which I'll not dwell on in this video, but you can take your time with it, think it through and come up with, I mean, there's bends and curves and things getting wider, what's in my hand, wider and narrower and wider and narrower and whatever. So, where were we? That bit's going to go in along here. That's the corner section for in there. Now, because I'd done the other side, I went crazy on a cutting thing. So I just attacked it, cut out all the rust, and I think it came back and bit me in the backside. So I think, in fact, I'm going to stick my finger out for this one. I think that's the core message of this video. Making all these little things with the bends in them and all that type of thing does take a lot of time. It's more complicated than just putting on sheets. That anybody watching these videos, if you've just tuned in for this one, you're going to think this guy's an absolute head case. That's actually not too difficult a job to get all the body panels on the van. It'll take a bit of time, but the graft is actually all this hidden stuff that you don't see. Where's I think we've got a piece of metal up here. Right, so that's what we're contending with. That's the stuff we're replacing. You know, another funny thing, even with all the corrosion that was on this van before I started, I think if it was in a bump, there's still enough meat in the bones. I'd feel safer sitting in that thing than I would have in a small family car, I really would have. Even with all this terrible corrosion. So, yeah, again, I lost the train of thought. Right, so all these complicated, and that's going to be the internal section at the back. Now, another mantra, if you're late to the video series, is I always say, that sits in the back of the rocker. In here. I think this is a video that I've fallen over the most in. So I'll get in the back along there, but the strengthening to go across that section, then that corner in here, then there's a bit of the floor to repair, which actually isn't too bad. So I've already scalped in this little repair section here. These things I think I'll just clean up. Tried grinding them earlier on and I managed to hit shiny steel, so I don't think they're that badly done. There's one over there as well. So where was I? Alright, so I went in a cutting frenzy. Removed hundreds and hundreds of the steel because I'd done the other side and I was feeling a bit cocky, a bit confident or something, right? So here's the rub and probably the message from this week's video. I'd cut so much of this stuff out that I didn't know if we'd get the door to line up. So I had to start repairing the door up. Now all these jobs need done anyway, right? I need to get them out of the way, and even starting fixing the door gets us a little bit further down the line. However, because I've manufactured the repair sections, myself, I wasn't sure what like the gaps and stuff would be. So I had to put this internal door skin on, just to make sure when I open and close the door, everything's lining up okay. Does that make sense? Right, so I tacked that, you cut everything out. I actually put a metal rod in here as well. That's a bit of 2 or 3 mil steel, just to try to line things back up. That's nice and strong. Yeah, I cut everything out. All the shapes changed. The shape of the van didn't change, but the where everything lined up definitely took a hit, so I had to put that on. So that is the message of today's video. I tacked that job. I don't know how many hours I've got, and I've given up and all this stuff. I attacked that job, thought I'd smashed it. Then when I went to go and do the reassembly, I couldn't because I didn't know how the door would close on all that stuff. So that's today's message. I don't think I've done an upload in over a week, and the last time we did one, I'm fairly sure none of this has been stuck on. So that's had maybe, that's all been tacked up. And I had 4 or 5 coats of underseal down there and all the way along under the door, which is way more than what the manufacturer put on it when it came out of the factory. So today's story is, even although I was repairing the footwell, I had to stick half a door, well, stick the bottom quarter, bottom repair section of a door on to find out how everything lined up. I'm still fairly confident. Most of the crap's out here. I think I've got still I can weld onto, and I've made up my own repair sections. Oh, and there's another wee story as well. So that's the box section that goes in behind this part of the door. Here's another story as well. I don't know whether I'm a cheap ass or I'm being quite clever. That's part of the, I think it was that section here in the van. You can see the corrosion in that, right? Now, the whole coronavirus thing, as ever, has just left me juggling pennies. I've got no money whatsoever. So that was the section that came from there. Now, the inside was corroded, and the outside here was corroded as well. These sections went. So being the smart little Zambo that I am, I've been chopping up these panels. I don't think I'll use any more of that because I've got all this surface rusting outside of it. But any bits I could use off the panel, I chopped up and used. So I'm going to give myself a thumbs up for being a master recycler in that one. So, I think it's about midnight of that. I'm going to pack up, go down the road, and hopefully the next time you see this footwell will look something a bit closer to how that one looks. Check that out. That was some amount of work. So that's the inside of that door's been done, the outside of the door's been done, and the entire footwell. Right, so that wasn't very funny tonight, was it? No jokes, no amusing little anecdotes. Quite cold. Well, saying that, I'll give you a Scotland temperature update. We've been averaging about 8 degrees during the day. It's been dropping to 4 or 5 at night, which is fantastic. A week or two ago, it was dropped to -8 at night. So your heart has to break for all homeless people and stuff like that. Anyway, we've nearly done all the structural steel in the outside of this vehicle, which, amazing stuff. When I get this welded up again, the self-doubt came in. It took me ages to bash these panels, and I've sat and looked at it more than I've actually been cutting steel and doing stuff, and it took me ages to work out how to reassemble it all, but I think I've smashed it now. The thinking's out the way, the nuts and bolt stuff's just about done and out. There are a few body panels to rattle on, and I'm I'm never real happy. I'm always frustrated with this. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back and say, well done you, because that was a monster job, and an enormous amount of work. Is it done? No, there's stuff underneath the vehicle that needs looked at. There's rust in the chassis frame and everything, but all this stuff, all the way around the entire van, round the back, round the other side, down the front, it's all spam fritter, rocking. Right, so thanks very much for watching another riveting episode of the old dog TV. And hopefully next time you see that footwell will be in place, and we'll be thinking about putting on these outside body panels, which is just going to change everything, isn't it? I can't wait to go into painting and body fill. The whole grinding thing, man, angle grinders scare the pants off me, they really do. The more you use these things, the more chance you've got of maiming yourself. I'm going to do a safety video. Once I've got the metal work done, I'm going to sit down, give you my thoughts and aspirations on how I think I've done, how I could have done it better, and I'm definitely going to do a disclaimer, and I'm going to do a video on safety. I dropped an angle grinder on myself when I was underneath the van a few months ago. It was absolutely freezing cold. I was wearing 3 t-shirts, a jumper, my overalls, a jacket and all the rest of it. God almighty, if I'd been doing it in summer, I would have ripped myself to pieces. So anyway, enough of that. Thanks all for watching. Bye.